guys, welcome back to Valhalla, and today is going to be another installment on building Valhalla. It's an ongoing project, it will be for lifetime probably, constant little improvements and additions. Now I've got a couple of videos to film after this showing you a few additions that I've made since the last time I filmed this, but today I'm just going to be showing you quite an ambitious plan I've got. So as you can see, Valhalla is a bit of a mess at the moment. Why? Well, that's because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be painting the floor. I was deadlifting the other day, and I do sumo deadlift because I've got a lower back issue, so I can't do conventional deadlift even though I'm stronger at it these days. And obviously because of sumo deadlift style, right, you got your legs really wide, and as a result, some of the force when you push down with your legs in the deadlift can go slightly to the side. This isn't normally a problem, but if your floor is slippy, if it's old concrete that hasn't been treated in a long time, your foot can slip. And it happened the other day, and I was like, no, nothing bad, I didn't get injured or anything, but my feet nearly ended up underneath the weights, right? And so that's something that can't be accepted. So what I've done is I've bought about 15 litres of anti-slip paint in all manner of different colours because I like my bright colours, right? So I've got red, I've got yellow, and I've got blue. The main colour of the floor is going to be blue, okay? It's going to be a yellow trim around the edges of the gym, but also around where the red is. The red will be placed in areas where essentially there will be active lifting going on, free bar lifting. So, inside the cage, and where a deadlift is ultimately going to be red as a sort of a no-go zone, if you wish. Or I could just pretend it's the blood of my enemies, right? Spilt in the fields of Valhalla. But anyway, that's what's going to go on. I want to just put the camera up and show you a little bit, like I did when I did the cage that's behind me, and I built that up. I kind of just did a sort of a fast thing to show you how it's going. This will take several days to do. If the equipment went in here, I probably could get it done today. But obviously, as you can see, I've just got so much equipment in here and I can't put it elsewhere, mostly because of size and bulk. I can't put that in the house, right? And I can't even really move it. I've deloaded it, taken the weights off. This is why they're on the floor, so I can try to shift it over a little bit so I can paint underneath where it's going to go. But moving that properly, into a different room is, as I say, an absolute no-go. Same with other bulky pieces of equipment, like my rower and my bike behind me. I haven't got anywhere to put them. And I don't really have anywhere to put my weights. So what I've done is I've piled everything up there where there's going to be a red zone. I'm going to paint red another day. I'm going to try and get as much of the blue as possible. I don't think I'm going to be able to do yellow because obviously I'm going to use masking tape, so to sort of create where the lines are going to go. But I want to try and get at least half the room done in blue today. Give it at least another 24 hours to dry before I start again. And hopefully on the other half of the room. So that's the plan. I'm going to set the camera up, and literally this video will be watching paint dry. So watch it if you want, don't otherwise, but I just thought I'd give you a little update. But I have got some exciting news to share in future videos on equipment that I've got ordered and equipment that I have, as a little sneak preview, but I've got a real big piece of kit coming and I'm having handmade. It's going to take 6 weeks to make. Can't wait to share that with you when it comes. And I may even have to assemble it myself. So I'll do an assembly video. Right, so I'm going to shut up and get back to work. Well, that's the hoovering done. It wasn't particularly long to do, as I say. I had hoovered it yesterday in preparation. So now I've got to get down to the painting. But just before I do that, I need to put masking tape around the sort of edges and where things are not going to be the primary colour. So I'm going to start on the blue, which is going to be the main colour that covers pretty much the whole floor. And it's described as tractor blue. Here it is. Let's get it. Tractor blue. What a manly name. Yeah. And then for the edges of the blue and the edges of the red when it comes, I've got JCB Digger Yellow. Good names, I like them. But what I've got to do is, because the blue and yellow are going to be in close sort of proximity to one another, I don't want to sort of overpaint the areas where the yellow is going to go. So when I paint the blue, I've got to, and I use this to sort of keep it as a uniform size as well. The yellow strips are going to be the size of the masking tape. So I'm going to put masking tape around the edges of the room and the edges of, you know, pieces of equipment and that, where the red zones are going to be. That's to stop me going over where I'm supposed to go, you know, over the limit, so to speak. And it should stop me getting paint where it shouldn't be. So I'm going to do the masking tape. For that, I'm going to obviously use my masking tape, and you can use your teeth, which I would normally do, but may as well use a standing knife, nice sharp standing knife, which has got a new blade in it, so it's razor sharp. I'm going to use that to cut the tape into the correct shape and dimensions. Yeah, and waste not, want not. I've got my trays and my rollers and all that over there to put the paint in, but I've flattened the cardboard box that the paints came in to use as a sort of a mixing area as well. So I'll be putting everything on there, save spinning anything unnecessarily. At least it will go on the cardboard rather than the floor and creating lumps or anything like that. I'll be moving those over here when I start prepping the paint. Alright guys, so just to show you, I didn't film this side, but I've taped all the way up to sort of the garage door, which is going to get graffiti painted, by the way, along with that wall over there, but again, another video, another time. But then yeah, I've gone all along the edges. Wherever you see masking tape, it's going to be yellow, and then I've protected the bike here and gone around the wall, which is the areas where I'm trying to cover today, and again, I've protected it on that side. So that's the masking tape now, everything kind of sorted. Time to mix some paint. Alright guys, so this is how the garage is looking after the first day of painting. I've left it for another day just to help dry it off. The fumes off this paint are unbelievable. Getting high as a kite as you're painting. Proper headache, had to take a few ibuprofen, and I'm allergic to ibuprofen, right? So I can't really in theory take them, but my head was that bad, I had to in the end, despite wearing basically a face mask. Not a full grade mask, but a covering over my face. Despite that, I still got the headache. It's amazing. But you can see this blue is absolutely gorgeous. And I managed to get quite a lot done in day one. Could have done more, but obviously I was painting around my equipment. So today what I'm going to be doing is I've taken off a little bit more off this cage, so it's literally just the cage now, and I'm going to slide it over there. I'm going to move the bag, which was here. I'm just going to move the things over here. So basically, where the blue paint is and where it's dried, I'm going to try and move as much as I can over into those areas so I can paint as much of the bits that have been obviously skipped on day one, I wasn't able to get to. Now, as you can see, I've got some really nice crisp lines along here for what was originally going to be painted yellow alongside in there for the deadlift and squat areas. I'm still very tempted, after having removed the masking tape, which I've just done, I'm very tempted to kind of go down that line, if you know what I mean. But I must admit, getting these lines, these nice crisp lines, wasn't difficult, but it slowed me down. I mean, I painted this bit, that bit far quicker than I did here. This took a long time trying to get these nice crisp lines without getting too much over the edges. And as you can see down the edge here, where I wanted a yellow rim, I gave up because the masking tape was getting entangled in the roller that I was using, which is actually over there at the moment. So I thought, nah, what I'll do is I'll just paint as much up to the edges as I can, and I'll finish it off with a brush, and I'm just going to obviously clean off that brick and fix that up afterwards. But so what I'm going to do, as I say, is I think I'm going to give up on the idea of having multiple colours in here. I don't know if I want that. I'm going to do a yellow rim over there across the wall, just add a little bit of definition. But I'm thinking I'm going to paint the whole floor blue, and I've ordered some more paint to make sure I don't run out based upon that. So because this is just taking so as I say, it's so awkward and it slows me down, I want to get back to my training. That's the thing. Whilst it's like this, I can't train. Whilst there's fumes, I can train, but it's obviously a lot more difficult. So I just feel like the best thing to do is to do it all blue. Maybe add a yellow at a later date. So that's the plan. So what I'm going to do, move this stuff now, and then I'm going to start painting along here as much as I can, and in there, maybe towards the back. That's what. Now, it's funny actually. You don't realise just how many weights you have until you start moving them. Obviously I've got all them, and I've got another 200 kilograms worth of weights over in that rack over there as well. It's like, still don't have enough though, still don't have enough. Alright, so you can see everything's been moved mostly into there and around the edges. It does mean that I'm not going to get everything done today. If it wasn't for my equipment, if I had some kind of way of storing it outside without either it getting nicked or getting soaked in the typical English rain, well, the April showers that we have at the moment, I would get it all done, but I don't. So I've got I've got today and another day of painting ahead of me, I would say. But I don't think it's going to take too much longer to get this done. This is going to be a lot easier than yesterday, a lot more open space to work with, and obviously give it then 2 days to dry, and I'll have a lot of space just to move just a small amount of equipment out of the way over to here, for example, and to be able to finish off the rest of it. Now, that cage weighs total weight 200 kilos. So it's a big, hefty piece of equipment. It does move quite easy once you put your body weight into it. I mean, I weigh 130 kilos, so I only really, in theory, have to push 70 kilos with strength. So it wasn't a problem to move, but it was a great test for this paint and how hard wearing it is, because, of course, I weren't lifting it up, I was just simply sliding that across that blue paint. None of it scratched at all. It's all intact. One little chip over towards the far end. It's minor. You wouldn't even know it's there if you weren't really looking for it. I'll touch that up as we go. Obviously tomorrow or the day after even, once the paint's dried, I'll have to move it back over, which means it's scraping across there again, and also scraping across a bit of the paint there. But as I say, if there's any little minor amounts of cosmetic damage, I will fix that with a little top-up session as and when I feel like it. So there we go. Let's start painting. Right, lads, well, I'll tell you what, I am blitzing through it today. This has not taken long whatsoever to get to the point where I've done basically pretty much all I can do today. I'm to obviously move this equipment. Obviously, I've got to wait for that to dry to be able to shift things around. Now, I've got a little bit more I'm going to do, get as much done as I can. So I've painted, and I've kind of painted myself into a corner there, and I've got a nice dry path to walk out, in theory, right? So what I'm going to do, I've got to go close those garage doors now because it only locks from the inside, can't lock it from the outside. So I'm going to close those doors so then I can paint this bit here as much as I can and kind of paint myself out, if you know what I mean. So and then what I'll do is I'll leave that until maybe then tomorrow evening, and I'll do a little bit more if I can, at least some of the trims, and then Monday I'm going to have a big colour session on Monday. So you can see it's going beautifully. Looks really gorgeous, doesn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. And it's helping protect some of the defects in the floor. As you can see the line here, at least that's getting this is a kind of crack in the floor. Well, it's not a crack, it's where the concrete's been done in 2 lots, and there's a couple of little defects in the floor there, here and there. Well, this kind of paint is industrial grade. You can be used in warehouses and industrial machinery and stuff like that, so it will last pretty much forever. So I won't have to do this again, which is more not anytime soon anyway. So yeah, it's looking gorgeous. I'm going to put my music back on. I'll turn it off for copyright reasons, YouTube. Thank you. But yeah, so I might show you what I finish off today, and then obviously I'll be back tomorrow, which will be in a few seconds for you. Nice one. Alright guys, beginning of day 3. So as you can see, well, you probably can't see underneath all this, but most of that floor is now painted blue and it's looking real banging. I must admit, I'm really enjoying this choice of colour. So what I've got left to do is just that bit there, which was underneath the rower, which I couldn't get to yesterday, and then of course down the edge there. Then I've got a little bit of trim work, so I'll get the paint brushes out rather than the rollers and just do the edges where there's still a little bit of grey. On top of that, I'm then going to do these rims. I'm not going to do that today, I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to do them yellow. And then I've been umming and ahhing, okay, over what to do with this bit here. Now, I could just leave it as bare wood, but the problem is it looks a little bit sort of unfinished in my sort of mind. And obviously I may be able to do the shelving in the same colours and the windowsill also. We'll see, I may leave that side, but I'll certainly do that another time. But what I'm going to do today, it's a bit of a brave move because I don't want it to look silly, but I've got my step ladder here. I'm going to paint that wood. So obviously the artwork will come off and the wood will be painted underneath. Now I'm going to start with that, obviously, if I do it, because once I paint now, I won't be obviously step there for the next sort of 24 to 36 hours. So I've got to paint that first. Now I'm thinking, I was thinking of doing it red myself. My missus says, nah, do the yellow because it's bright, and the red, you know, 2 dark colours, even though the blue's not that dark, it's got a darkish feel to it. The light will help, yellow will help brighten it up, especially as I'm going to be doing the rims in yellow. So probably going to stick with the yellow. Missus knows best, right? So yeah, I think now I look pretty good actually. So that's what I'm going to be doing. First of all, just got to hoover again. There's probably concrete that hasn't been painted in a long time. It dusts up a lot. So as I said, it always has that dusty look, even though it's been cleaned, you know, 3 times in one day. But then, yeah, that'll be it. See you in a minute. Well, I must admit, that's a pretty damn fucking good finish, I gotta say. It's taken me absolutely ages because I had to do a lot by hand, you know, like hand brush paint and stuff in the corners and around the edges where the wires are. Careful not to get obviously anything on anywhere. But that's a gorgeous colour to finish off with and contrasts this blue perfectly. I mean, it has definitely made me very tempted to maybe get some of that over there at a later date, but that's going to be a while from now because I basically want to train. And it's hard to train obviously with it. Well, it's impossible like this, but once everything's tidied up, there'll still be a few fumes for a little while. So I definitely want to do the doorstep and the rim of that wall in yellow when I get a chance. And you can see it's absolutely gorgeous. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to it's 5 o'clock in the evening now, so it's taking absolutely fucking forever. It's taken me about, it took so many coats because obviously yellow's harder to paint than blue because it looks green if it, you know, on the first coat and stuff. So I've been constantly painting that now for probably the last sort of 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours I think it is. So what I've got to do now, which is what I intended to do today, is finish off the blue. Okay, there is a bit of trimming and stuff down there to do down the edge of the wall, but I'll do that tomorrow when I've got my sister around. She's going to help me paint the small detail stuff, but I want to do all this blue, and I do want to trim this blue as well, so when I can move my equipment over without having to get access again. So overall, very pleased. Well guys, here's the finished product. So you can see this is about 6 weeks actually after the last bit of the video you've just seen. You can see how the floor has been sort of weathered in nicely. You can still see it's pretty much brand new. The odd little bit of mark that you can see there is just a bit of chalk because I did a bit of deadlift the other day. So this is really good hard wearing stuff. Looks absolutely banging, and of course there's my big yellow wall over there also. Now since then I have had obviously some new deliveries, so I've got this piece of machine here which I'm going to do in another video. I've got some new plates, so I've got my dumbbell rack and my plate rack over here. So lots of little extra bits and pieces which I will cover in upcoming videos. But regardless where I'm going to go in the future, well, all that's left really is this wall here, the ceiling, and this garage door. Now, of course, I could leave them and everything would be pretty good still, but I have arranged and organised a graffiti artist to come in to paint this wall, okay? He's going to hand paint the ceiling and he's going to spray paint here. He's also going to come in along this wall and add little pieces here and there, and also with the sword there, he's going to kind of basically going to do a Viking holding that sword there in a similar manner to that painting. So we've got some good ideas coming up. Oh, just before I carry on talking about that, you can see I've also lined the brick. I've remade the brick surface there. I didn't clean it. I actually put in essentially brick filler over the top because the bricks were pretty eroded. So the brick work has been sort of vamped up a little bit. And I'd say really now everything functional has been done. So all we've got is the aesthetics. Obviously the graffiti paint that I'm getting done is going to be done when the graffiti artist is ready. In theory it was supposed to be done just over a month ago, but unfortunately the guy's been very busy at work, so he hasn't had the time to come out and do it. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you never know, he might start it. Regards to ceiling, as I say, the guy is going to paint that, but also my father-in-law, he's an electrician, and he's actually going to put in, he came up with a great idea. Originally we were going to put spotlights in across here for a little bit of extra lighting, because it can get a little bit dark in here, despite the window, despite the light there, despite the lights that I've put up here, there and there. But here's the thing, right? What he's going to do is actually going to put spotlights in with mood lighting, and basically the lights will change colour either when you tell them to, or you can put them on a mode where they change colour according to the music that's being played. I've got my music system just in front of that school there, just a little Google Nest. But when the music plays, I can set it so the lights flash and change colour and everything like that. So I've got some really, really nice plans on where I want the gym to go. As I say, it's all finished now, it's all good, but you know, you can continue adding to it. And so the Building Valhalla series will continue for a little while. If you've enjoyed the video or you want to see other bits that I've done in here, such as assembling my cage and, you know, little things like that, then go into my playlists, go into Building Valhalla, and you'll find my whole list of videos there from which preceded this video, and also future videos that I add to it as well will go in there. Right guys, well, it's a goodbye from me, it's a goodbye from Valhalla.